Hey guys, Argent here with another episode of Better Know a Heresy. Although this will probably serve as a general video on Gnosticism, as it's a rather big topic that frequently comes up. It was really propagated by the Da Vinci Code, although Dan Brown's understanding of Gnosticism appears to kind of be the exact opposite of what Gnosticism is. But this is Dan Brown we're talking about. So what is Gnosticism? Gnosticism is at its core a belief in dualism. Dualism between spirit and matter. Now, now this type of dualism does exist in Christianity, but it's rather different in Christianity. In Christianity, both matter and spirit are good because God created both. Spirit can be flawed in the terms of having a corrupt will. Demons are corrupt beings of spirit, etc. And there's beauty in the world, there's also horror in the physical world. So both things can be good or evil. In Gnosticism, the material world is 100% evil and spirit is 100% good. And that we are all... Now, there's a lot of diversity in Gnosticism, and it is secret. I mean, I believe gnosis means having knowledge, although I think in some translations gnosis means secret knowledge. But anyways, so in most forms of Gnosticism, either individual people are pieces of the one God or the absolute or some sort of supreme spiritual reality trapped in our realm, or they are just purely spiritual beings, kind of like angels that are trapped in this physical realm. So hopefully that makes sense. So basically the idea is we all existed in some form as these boundless, infinite spiritual beings in the perfect world of spirit, and we were dragged into the physical realm and were made into physical bodies, and our bodies are cages. Are cages for our souls, and that the natural state of man is to be free from his body. Now this is in contrast to the Christian understanding, which is that man is an equal union of soul and body. The body does not survive death, but on the last day, everyone will be given a perfected body that has all of our physical limitations will be fixed. We will be given a perfected body, and we aren't really sure what that'll look like, but our body will resemble our soul, I suppose you could say, or will be aligned with the soul. I'm just saying this as kind of a point of comparison, because a lot of people have a very Gnostic understanding of matter versus spirit. So in Gnosticism, now it depends on the form of Gnosticism, because Gnosticism is a combination of Platonism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, and some other just random stuff. So it depends a bit on the variant we're talking about, but most Gnostic sects believe that the creator of the physical world, so the creator of our world, is the devil, is evil. They have a term called the demiurge. The demiurge, I think, is Greek for public servant. And the demiurge was in Plato and Aristotle as being the one creator god. The demiurge in Platonic philosophy is God with an uppercase G, but in Gnosticism he is the ultimate evil because he created matter, and he ended the world of spirit by pulling it down into the world of matter and corrupting it. In Gnosticism, with regards to Christianity, the belief is that the God the Father is the demiurge. He is the ultimate evil because he created the material realm. And by creating the material realm, he trapped all of our souls in this sphere, in this horrible existence. And thus he is wicked. Now, some Gnostics accept Jesus, some don't. Specifically relating to more Christianized forms of Gnosticism, the belief is that Jesus is the incarnation of the absolute, the divine, the ultimate spiritual essence that exists in the other realm, and is eternally at war with the demiurge or the creator god. So Gnostics read the Bible as Jesus being a separate, co-equal God with the Father in the Old Testament, but them being eternally at war with one another. And Jesus' purpose was to enter the world and to pass on teachings, which we'll get to a second, to enable people to leave behind their physical forms and embrace their reality as being beings of true spirit. So that's kind of how they view Jesus. What's interesting in contrast to what Dan Brown says is he says, oh, Gnosticism thought that Jesus was only a man. No, it's actually the opposite. The Gnostics said if Jesus is God, he would not take on human flesh. Because having a physical substance or being bound to a physical substance is something God cannot do. Because matter is evil and God is good. So God cannot be physical. He can't have a physical and evil and horrible. So the Gnostics who believe in Jesus believe that he was a spiritual entity pretending to be human, playing at being human, that he was not a man at all. He was just God. Or a God, because Gnosticism, by its nature, it takes the Platonic idea that there is a perfect entity at the center of all existence, or all essence, and that is God or the divine or the one, etc. And then from that radiates its essence of sorts. And this is also used in Christianity. And the further you get away from it, the more kind of corrupted and lesser things get. So like at the very bottom you might have just matter, like just a rock. Then you might have like life, like bacteria or something, and then you have higher life, then you have humans, then you have the saints, then you have the angels, then you have like the archangels, then you have God. And as you kind of climb Jacob's ladder, if you will, you get closer to God. Angels are far more like God than humans are. So Gnosticism finds it okay to worship a wide variety of deities, a bit like Catholicism actually, which is not exactly how we view the saints. Like, because in Gnosticism they view all the gods as being pieces or emanations from the one, which is a bit similar to saints and angels, but they have separate existences. They aren't just pieces of God broken off. But we pay them homage for a similar reason, because they're higher than us. They are in heaven beside God's throne, and thus they are greater beings than we are. I think it is accurate to call the saints and angels gods with a lowercase g. They are not the creator, they are not the sustainer of the universe, but they are, to a large degree, the equal of something like Zeus. Like Saint Michael the Archangel is similar in his kind of role and nature to Zeus. But anyways, yeah, so the Gnostics accept all gods for that reason. So they see everything as an emanation from the divine. So some of them see Jesus as an emanation of the divine. Some see him as the divine pretending to take on human form, etc. So the teachings of the Gnostics were, as I said, that the world is fundamentally evil, that the ultimate goal is escape from this world. I talked about the ladder because the goal of Gnosticism is to climb the ladder. To climb the ladder of existence. And you climb the ladder of existence through knowledge, hence Gnosticism. You must gain knowledge of reality in order to overcome it. And here we really see some strong kind of Buddhist Hindu beliefs, because Buddhism is based on the idea, I think it's one of the Four Noble Truths, that suffering is illusionary, that this world is an illusion. Hinduism and Buddhism share this. The world is an illusion, and only through denial of the world, denial of your body's needs, can you be enlightened. And enlightenment is to exist as a purely spiritual being and escape from the things that tie you to this world. The goal of Gnosticism is very similar to Nirvana. Nirvana is where you completely sever your ties with the physical world and you exist entirely in the realm of spirit. You're no longer reborn. And most Gnostics, I do believe in reincarnation. They have a view it very similar to Hinduism and Buddhism, where you will keep coming back until you've completely severed your ties to this world, and then you will get to exist forever in the realm of spirit. That's kind of what um, Gnosticism teaches. So that being said, that's the ultimate goal, and you get there by climbing the ladder of existence through knowledge. So these are secrets. So if you guys know about like masonry, because masonry is a kind of a Gnostic idea, there's degrees of masonry. Scientology also works like this. So you're initiated, and then as you work your way up through money or doing services or whatever, you're told more and more secrets. The secrets are just like theology. Like they don't make their theology public. Like I believe Jesus said, "Everything I've done has been in public. I've said everything I've said in public. I haven't said anything in private." But the Gnostics keep all their theology and prayers and magical rituals and formulas and all that stuff to themselves, and they only reveal it based on how high you are in their hierarchy. And the idea is, as you're doing these rituals and learning these secrets, you are ascending a spiritual ladder. Um, you're becoming greater and greater and greater until you achieve a sense of mastery, and then you basically become a god. And when you die, you become a divine being. Which it is not dissimilar to Christianity. It's not as if it's completely different out there, separate, which is probably one of the reasons why it appeals so much to Christians and why it's kind of a perennial heresy that jumps up from time to time. Because it's to a large extent it's not that dissimilar. If anything, Gnosticism is to some extent a more fleshed out and almost kind of like more rationalist version of some aspects of Christianity. Gnosticism has some issues with it, but as a philosophical system that doesn't rely really on divine revelation in any way, it's very plausible sounding. It's fairly rational. I think it has a lot of aspects of truth to it. It has a lot of problems, but yeah, Gnosticism is just it's kind of an interesting combination of most of the world's religions and philosophies in one thing, which is probably why it's so similar to if you've ever heard of the traditionalist school, which is the idea that all religions come from the same place, that all religions are fundamentally the same, have the same teachings, etc. That's a very Gnostic way of looking at it. Um, but yeah, so the key features of Gnosticism, just to go over it again, is a complete rejection of the physical, a disdain and hatred of the physical world for the body, often extreme asceticism. Some people turn it around and engage in extreme hedonism as kind of a mockery of the physical world. So you get sex rituals and stuff like that. There's a large emphasis on magic, on self mastery, on secret knowledge, on elaborate formulations, and that kind of thing. It's very hierarchical. It's very elitist, etc. The idea is ultimately that you will ascend the celestial ladder towards becoming one with God through secret knowledge, and eventually leave behind this world of imperfect matter to become one with the supreme, the divine, the ultimate. So I hope that makes sense. I wasn't sure whether or not to put Better Know a Heresy, because this is a heresy. It's one of the perennial heresies, but it's also kind of a topic in of itself. So I think what I'll do is I'll just call this a brief introduction to Gnosticism, but it'll be on the Better Know a Heresy playlist. Fair enough. This is Argent Templar signing out.